I support Scouting because it's probably the best program that I know that helps develop young people and makes them great leaders, leaders of integrity, leaders with great character. It develops, obviously, all those skills, including how to work in a team, how to work together, and really how to set goals and achieve them. And Scouting for me has been a lifelong journey, and I can tell you that I continue to support Scouting today because it's had a tremendous impact on my personal life. And it's an opportunity now for me to give back in a big way to a program that helped develop me as a leader.
Well, you know, one of the main things that Scouting teaches young people is leadership. And I feel like that the education I had and the experiences I had through Boy Scouts and also through the 67 years that I've been involved in Scouting has made me a better leader, and as a result I've been able to assume leadership roles not only in the community that I live in Port Aransas, but also in the coastal bend and throughout Texas. And I attribute a lot of that leadership and leadership skills to my experiences in the Boy Scouts.
AAP Texas has been a proud supporter for a number of years, and frankly one of the reasons is that it provides essential skills that are timeless for today's youth, right? Those practical skills that are so important in terms of leadership and being able to contribute to the communities. So many leaders, even within our organization, have gone through the South Texas Council of Boy Scouts of America.
The one thing I can tell you, being a public official as well as in private practice in law, when you deal with scouts and you've gone through Scouting, you already have an integrity check. You're already ahead. The training, the moral compass is trained so well that you know the character of the individual is in an accelerating number one position. I always tell everybody that I go all over the state of Texas. If you've been in Scouting, especially if you reach Eagle Scout, it opens all doors because it's almost just a welcome mat for accomplishment. So Scouting is a positive way of setting an example on the way life should be.
My name is Carlos, and I'm a Cub Scout. I'm here to talk to you today about becoming a scout like me. Who here knows what Cub Scouts do? Well, since this is a video, I'm just going to tell you what they do, and let's see if you're right. Cub Scouts get badges for doing fun activities, and we make friends. Scouts go camping, climbing, and fishing, and swimming together. We have fun. We play sports and go to parades. Scouts also help people and become the best versions of themselves. Scouts can become future leaders. In fact, some Scouts have even made history. Did you know that some of our former presidents, astronauts, award-winning scientists, and actors were Scouts when they were your age? Here's an example of something Cub Scouts get to do each year. Wait for it. We use our skills to make rockets, and then we fly them. So, who wants to become a Scout? Okay, this is still a video, so I'm gonna need you to let me know a different way. If you want to join, click the link below. You'll be able to find a pack near you, get any questions answered, and sign up for Cub Scouts Online. Make sure you have an adult to help you with that part though. Hey, thanks for watching my video. I hope to see you again soon as a Cub Scout like me.
Good evening, and welcome to the South Texas Council Boy Scouts of America's 34th Annual Distinguished Citizen Award Ceremony. Even though we're not together this evening because of safety concerns, we pay tribute to a couple for their lifelong dedication to making an impact in the quality of life in the Coastal Bend and South Texas. I would also like to recognize Augustine Rivera Jr., Ralph Meyer, and Tommy Kurtz, who guided us to this place and event tonight. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Now it is my honor to welcome Augustine Rivera Jr., Council President, for some opening remarks.
Good evening and welcome to the 2020 South Texas Council Distinguished Citizens Award virtual event. My name is Augie Rivera and I'm the President of the South Texas Council. And on behalf of the board and the council, I'm excited to welcome you this evening. I'm coming to you from that special place up on the hill above the water, Camp Karankawa. And I wish you could all be here. Unfortunately, COVID-19 has forced us to do things a little differently this year. But the honorees that you will shortly meet are so extraordinary, so special, so distinguished, that not even the pandemic could stop us from being here. The South Texas Council celebrated its 100th birthday last year, its centennial. The South Texas Council has endeavored to identify, for recognition, those unique individuals in our community who have time and again given selflessly for the betterment of all. And tonight, we join and continue that tradition. To the ancient Greeks, there was nothing more honorable than to be a good citizen. A good citizen was one who engaged in the activities of their community. A good citizen was one who put the interests of others above their own. The ancient Greeks would have been proud of our honorees this evening, and so are we. So let's keep on with the program.
Okay, now the Pledge of Allegiance will be presented by Scouts from the Boy Troop 226 and the Girl Troop 356, sponsored by Yorktown Christian Academy. Following the presentation, the Scouts will lead us in the Scout Oath and Law and will offer a scouting prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On my honor, I'll do my best to do my duty to guide my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
For food, for raiment, for life, for opportunity, for friendship and fellowship, we thank thee, O Lord. Amen.
Hello, my name is Mary Claire, and I'm a Scout leader from the South Texas Council. The South Texas Council would like to thank all the donors for their support. Our mission is to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices throughout their lifetimes by instilling in them the values of the Scout Oath and Law. The South Texas Council offers leadership and character development, outdoor programs, team building activities, and more for ages 7 to 20. Scouts in the South Texas Council have given back to their local communities, learned life skills, interacted with Scouts from across the world, and attended leadership seminars and countless other events. While the COVID-19 pandemic prevented Scouts from attending camp together, going to Scout meetings in person, and other in-person events, that did not stop our mission. We continue to shape young people by offering virtual events for all ages, and we continue to offer safe options for all Scouts. Scouting in South Texas continues to thrive, and we plan to keep going strong in creating leaders of tomorrow.
Thank you, Mary Claire, for sharing with us that Scouting is alive and well in South Texas. And with us this evening are Scouts and parents from our council to share what they like about Scouting and the impact Scouting is making on their lives and their family.
What I like about Scouting is getting to have fun on all these campouts with all my friends, getting to experience brand new things every day.
What I like about Scouting is all the fun I have with my friends while hiking, and also just all the laughs that we have after we are done hiking.
What I like about scouting is that all the adventures that we go on and we do it together, it brings out the best of us.
What I like about scouting is you learn things that you never thought you'd learn or think about, and it's really fun to learn new things.
What I like about scouting is going on all the camping trips with all my friends, and specifically cooking. I like to cook with my friends and have all the teamwork and just make like completely new experiences that you wouldn't have outside of scouting.
What I like about scouting is it helps me make new friends, it helps me learn about wildlife, and a bunch more.
What I like about scouting is just enjoying time in the outdoors with the kids, watching them experience new things, teaching them new things. It's definitely made me a better mom and a better parent, and we've created a lot of wonderful memories.
What I like about scouting is it gives my son opportunities they would normally not have if it had not been for scouting. Some of the things he does, the places he goes, the people he meets, a lot of opportunities that are there that would not ordinarily be there. Summer camps, hiking trips, and just a general camaraderie. It's also made him self-reliant. He's been a leader to his patrol. Assistant leader, quartermaster. He's done all the jobs that he can do, and it's made him a better person for it.
What I like about scouting is the opportunities that I'm afforded to be able to share my knowledge and experience as an Eagle Scout with all the boys in my troop. To be able to give them some of the same opportunities and even new opportunities that I didn't get to have when I was a boy, and to be able to help them grow into young men that are self-sufficient, knowledgeable, and respectful.
What I like about scouting is the time that I get to spend outdoors with my scout and also helping her and develop her leadership skills.
What I like about scouting is I get to make pine with derby cars with my grandpa.
Well, I like scouting because it gives him responsibility. He has to be responsible for his uniform. He has to be responsible what day it's on. So those things have been really good. With school, he's been able to be responsible for his own homework. So I really like that about scouting.
The impact of scouting is lifelong, and here to share with us that impact are Eagle Scouts Francisco Orozco and Dr. Jim Richter.
So I got involved in scouting when I was 8 years old when I moved to Texas. So originally I was born in California, and during that time I wasn't too sure why we moved, but looking back I see it a lot more. My dad was facing an issue of deportation. My sister had just actually got into heart disease, and then the whole recession was going on. So I remember little by little, my parents were selling their cars, they were selling stuff. Next thing you know, we were renting out our house. And my dad had this idea of moving to Texas. Another unforgettable experience I had was during the 2017 National Jamboree. You know, I remember this particular day because I remember waking up at 5 in the morning, getting ready, going on our bus. And I was with a group of guys. We all did AIA dancing. We loved dancing. That's what we were. We all knew each other. And we had a really hard day that day. I remember our advisor telling us, hey guys, it's gonna be a real difficult day. You guys be on your A game. And I remember us getting prepared, getting ready, saying, hey man, we got this. And I remember motivating ourselves, you know, because if you didn't make the bus at 5 in the morning, you were walking, and that was up a mountain. So I remember us going to each other saying, hey, let's go. And it was just a brotherhood we had there. And I remember setting up because we had a special guest come in. Usually our bus came at 8. This time it was 5 in the morning. We went up there, we danced, we did our thing. And that day it started raining. So our program was kind of cut short. But you know, during that period, we were all in the tent and we were bonding. We were talking about our scouting experience. You know, my experience, it's different, but it somehow connects to somebody else. You know, another grass dancer, which is a style I dance, somehow was at the same event I was, and I just didn't realize it. And the way scouting connects, it connects across the world. So that was really cool. And it's, you know, I think about that night every so and then. I was like, man, that was crazy, but it was fun. And it was outside of Corpus, it was outside of Texas. It was an experience I doubt anybody else has, with the amount of friends I had then and the experiences we had. You know, it's really crazy when you think about it, just all that stuff happening that one day.
My name is Jim Richter, and thank you for inviting me to the 34th Distinguished Citizen of the Year award ceremony for the South Texas Council Boy Scouts of America. It's a delight to be here, at least virtually, with my family and sharing this wonderful time with David and Elizabeth. I was asked also to comment about our family's history with scouting and some of my own personal experiences, which I'm delighted to do. Our history must begin with our parents. Our mother and grandmother were committed Girl Scouts and Girl Scout leaders in Michigan, and our early memories of my mother describing delightful times canoeing the Marquette River in northern Michigan contributed to our eagerness to join Boy Scouting when our time came. I joined a troop 180 on my 11th birthday, and David followed shortly on his. I don't think I ever missed a camping trip, and became patrol leader, senior patrol leader, achieved my Eagle Scout rank, God of Country, Order of the Arrow, and Brotherhood rank. My commitment to scouting and the benefits that came with it continued as a counselor of wildlife management at Camp Karankawa. I then left scouting, at least briefly, to attend medical school, but my experiences in scouting continued to inform me. At my medical school graduation, I stood with my classmates and took a modified Hippocratic Oath, which I marginally understood and didn't feel like it was mine or something that would inform or motivate my life. So I silently stood among my peers, and after the Hippocratic Oath, recited the Scout Oath to myself, which resonated deeply, and I knew was something that I could follow and would follow for the remainder of my career. I was blessed shortly after that to have a son of my own who became a scout. I was able to work with him as a Cub Master for 5 years, a Scoutmaster for 2, and an institutional representative for an additional 5 years. And I look forward now to my grandchildren joining scouting, and even yesterday had a discussion with my 7-year-old granddaughter about whether or not she was going to join Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, and her parents were eager for her to join up with the boys. So thank you all for having me. I wish I could be there with you personally, and keep up the good work in scouting. Thank you very much.
It is my pleasure now to introduce General Michael Hagee, our guest speaker. General Hagee is a retired United States Marine Corps general who served as the 33rd Commandant of the Marine Corps from 2003 to 2006. General Hagee currently serves as the CEO of the Nimitz Foundation and the National Museum of the Pacific War in Fredericksburg, Texas. Join me in welcoming General Hagee to our program.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight to honor a special couple and to recognize the work of the South Texas Council of the Boy Scouts of America. Having served in the Marine Corps for over 40 years, and having had the pleasure of leading the Admiral Nimitz Foundation that manages and supports the National Museum of the Pacific War here in Fredericksburg, I can attest to the value of such ceremonies. I strongly believe that it is essential to recognize those citizens who step forward and make significant contributions to our community and our country, and also to recognize those organizations like the Scouting Program in South Texas that also make significant contributions. I'm standing here in the lobby of the George H.W. Bush Gallery, but I do have a connection, a small connection, to the Scouting Program in South Texas. This is a picture of me, circa 1956, 1957. I'm the third one from the left next to the campsite. And I have to say, the only thing I remember with any clarity is having a great time at the big bonfire in the evening. Although not a scout, Admiral Nimitz believed in the program. This is a picture of him returning the salutes of 3 Cub Scouts on the USS Missouri in 1954. Nimitz, in the pamphlet, Some Thoughts to Live By, said, "My boyhood occurred before the Boy Scouts came into existence in the United States, but I have long been interested in its growth, development, and principles. If I were to sum up the qualities required of a good naval officer, I would be hard put to add anything to the qualities required of a good scout, and I would add, to a good citizen." Besides truly living the 12 principles of the Boy Scouts law, Nimitz also followed his grandfather's advice. Learn everything you can, do your very best in any job assigned, and do not worry about those things that you cannot change. We were lucky to have him in command in the Pacific during World War II. As a leader, it was never about him, but always about the mission or the task at hand and the men and women with whom he worked. Pretty much like our honorees tonight. I met David Richter shortly after I started as CEO of the Admiral Nimitz Foundation in December 2008. Richter Architects had won the contract to renovate the George H.W. Bush Gallery at the National Museum of the Pacific War, and we were in the middle of the project. The firm won an architectural award for the building design and its ability to capture the feel of the war in the Pacific. Several months after we opened, a journalist from the Wall Street Journal visited and wrote a 2-column piece about the museum. He ended the article by saying, "This is a world-class museum that many more people should see, ... It has only one disadvantage, ... It is located in Fredericksburg, Texas." Of course, we do not agree with that last phrase, and David had nothing to do with our location, but he played a significant role in making it a world-class museum. We did enjoy working with him. He obviously cared, he wanted to do it right, he was knowledgeable, and he was honest. We were lucky to have him and his team leading the project. In 2012, we wanted to install an 8-foot bronze statue of Admiral Nimitz next to the Nimitz Hotel, now the Nimitz Gallery, where Nimitz spent the first 6 years of his life. The statue was going to be in a small plaza next to the old hotel on Main Street. We had no idea where it should stand or how we should landscape the area. I called David for advice. He and Elizabeth immediately drove up to Fredericksburg. This was the first time I really had an opportunity to talk with her. I learned they were a terrific team. They came up several times, provided thoughtful recommendations to include several artist concepts, all pro bono. The statue has been there 8 years and helps visitors understand why the National Museum of the Pacific War is in Fredericksburg, over 200 miles from any deep blue water. It is also the most photographed spot in Fredericksburg. The high school varsity teams come over to have their picture taken with the statue, and the local paper quite often uses it as one of Fredericksburg's icons. Thank you, David and Elizabeth, for continuing to make a difference. From 2014 to 2016, we worked together on a major renovation to the Pacific Combat Zone. This was a complex project with many significantly different and moving parts, including a 400-seat outdoor amphitheater, an outdoor recreation of a Pacific island with bunkers, 2 major exhibit areas, and a granite orientation plaza displaying a large-to-scale flat map projection of the world. Richter Architects won another architectural award for the plaza. We enjoyed working with David and Elizabeth on the project. We knew they cared about doing it right, they were conscious of our budget, they listened to us, and we could actually have open and meaningful conversations without egos being involved. Finally, although I know these are tough times for all of us, as you consider making a donation to the scouting program here in South Texas, I ask you to remember Admiral Nimitz's remarks about the importance of the scouting program to the community and to the country. Thank you, and stay safe.
Thank you, General Hagee, for those outstanding comments on our honorees and on scouting in general. Now to the reason that we're here this evening. It's my honor to turn the program over to Augie Rivera, Council President, to introduce our 2020 Distinguished Citizen Award honorees.
Thank you, Bill. It is now my great pleasure to introduce you to tonight's honorees, Elizabeth Chu Richter and David Richter. Elizabeth and David, I've known them for over 30 years, and they've been dear friends that entire time, and they're also good friends of our community. Now I'd like to direct your attention to a very special video of some good friends of the Richters that will tell you more about the impact that they've had on our community.
Well, I've known David and Elizabeth a long while, probably ever since I've been in Corpus Christi. I think the combination of Elizabeth and David is very unique. They are highly respected by their colleagues, and they bring together kind of an interesting combination of being able to do buildings and things of that nature that are functional, that are aesthetic, and are innovative. And they have amazing talents in putting those components together. Elizabeth and David, you've done a marvelous job in being part of this community and seeing it being built, and you can take pride in all of the activities that you're involved in. And it's not just in the construction business in here. Your involvement with the civic organizations, Elizabeth being on the Federal Reserve Board of San Antonio, and those are all highly important activities, and you're using your talents to help everybody out, not just those that are having a building under construction.
Yeah, I first got to know David and Elizabeth in the mid-'80s. We were, working with our professional association through the American Institute of Architects, and that's really how I first got to know both David and Elizabeth. Knew David before I met Elizabeth. She was, for a period of time, she was staying home and raising a family, but shortly after the 80s, she became engaged with the firm again, and we reconnected and have known each other for, 35 years. When you think about people whose ethics, are exhibited in every action, both professionally and personally, they sort of personify that idea. In terms of the Scout law, I would say the first two, trustworthy and loyal, but they're, far more than that. They are completely dedicated to laying the groundwork, both in their work and in their life, for others. And whether that's helping and mentoring young people in the profession, whether it's building environments and communities that are the healthiest and most invigorating and most creative places and spaces that they can create, their legacy is quite remarkable at all levels. And they're an extraordinary family, an extraordinary couple, and I'm quite proud to call them friends. I'm thrilled that they've been selected and are willing to be represented as the distinguished citizens for the South Texas Council, Boy Scouts of America. David has, of course, a history of going back to Scouts here back from his childhood, and I have vague memories of David being a merit badge counselor at Camp Karankawa when I was too young to be on staff, but I know David has had a commitment and a dedication to Boy Scouts throughout his life and his career, and I think he and Elizabeth exemplify all of what the Scouts stand for.
One day Maria says to me, "We're invited to go to a rest stop." I said, "A rest stop? You mean like where you stop on the highway?" She says, "Yeah, we're invited to go to a rest stop." Well, it was that rest stop south of Valperius, which, is a award-winning rest stop. It was the first time I had actually encountered the kind of work that David and Elizabeth do. So we get to this rest stop, and I realize that I'm in the presence of some really creative minds. Some people who are really thinking about what they're doing, what their profession is doing. They're thinking about the land. They're thinking about the history of the place. It's not a place you just zoom by. I mean, if you stop there, you encounter a little bit about the history of South Texas, something about the geology, the biology, the plants, think about the environment of South Texas. They meant this rest stop to be not just a place where you munched a sandwich, but as a whole experience. And this is what I've come to know about Elizabeth and David. They are so forward-thinking. They are so mindful of the environment, so mindful of the people around them and the history of the people around them. And they put this into their architecture, to their work, and quite frankly, into their very relationships with people. So that's when I really came to know David and Elizabeth. Elizabeth, David, let me just congratulate you on this great honor from the Boy Scouts. It is well deserved.
Elizabeth Chu Richter, David Richter. And when you say Boy Scouts of America, many think of service beyond oneself and contributing to the community. And I've known them for many years. They're my family. And I have always seen not only the integrity and the craft and the professionalism and the expertise and the dedication of the architectural field, as they certainly have been recognized worldwide. But simultaneously, I have recognized the importance of that discipline, of that integrity, of that loyalty, of that service, of making sure that their craft is reflective of what community that they have made a promise to reflect who they are. What is their story? Well, the Richter story is about servant leadership. Yes, we know they've received awards all over the world, as far as away from building and architectural finds in Manila. But we get to claim them here in Corpus Christi, Texas. They chose to raise their family here in Corpus Christi, Texas. They believe in us. They know that what we have in this city has been a great partnership. What they believe in, natural environment, family, camaraderie, discipline, showcasing of the best of who we are. So they do that not only so beautifully in their craft as architects, as many awards as they have won, I think the one that shines the most brilliant is of their service, of their dedication to people for a common purpose. Elizabeth and David, congratulations. Well deserved. You don't search for these recognitions, but they find you because you're as good as it gets. Congratulations. We love you.
Thank you, Dr. Ferguson, Mr. Wilson, Mr. Jimenez, and the Honorable Nelda Martinez for your very personal and very special testimonials of our honorees. We really appreciate your being here with us this evening. Now we've come to the moment that we've all been waiting for. It gives me great pleasure, and it is my honor to present this year's 2020 Distinguished Citizen Award of the South Texas Council of the Boy Scouts of America to Elizabeth Chu Richter and David Richter. Elizabeth and David, congratulations and thank you. Thank you for all that you do, and on behalf of the many Scouters and Scouts and their families and the entire South Texas Council, thank you for letting us honor you this evening.
Well, we're so happy to be here today and to be honored by such a wonderful award. Just a little bit about us. We came to Corpus Christi in 1975, and it was shortly after we graduated from University of Texas at Austin. And we came here to build a house for David's parents. And we were just, seedlings at the time. We really didn't know how long we were going to stay. We thought, well, we'll just stay here for about 5 years and we'll see where we're going to go from here, where we're going to put down roots. But, as things happen, this community was so wonderful. It just opened their arms to us, and all the people that are in this community are so wonderful, and they're so civic-minded, and they were doing such good things. So we very quickly became involved with the community. So we also went to, we've done a lot of buildings here in this community, but we've also designed buildings far away. But every time we come back to Corpus Christi, it's just so wonderful to be back here, and this is a great place to raise a family and have the kids grow up, and we love it here. But anyway, more about, it's actually less about us, what's happening at this event, than it is about the Boy Scouts. And David?
Thank you. As usual, Elizabeth's right. Tonight is not about us, it's about scouting, and we're honored to try to be here to celebrate scouting. I was a scout right here in Corpus Christi 50 plus years ago, I must admit, and it was very, very important time in my life. And so when I think about scouting, I have to reach way back to memories. And people in my family will readily tell you that I don't really have the best memory. I have a fuzzy memory in distant history, and I'm kind of infamous for that, in fact. But I attribute it to architecture, because Elizabeth and I are always living in the moment, looking forward, looking to a better future, and architecture to us is a little bit like scouting. It's an adventure. Every project is new and exciting, and is always bringing some new element to us. So we don't look back. But when we stop a moment and think about scouting, and I look back, it's quite remarkable, because 4 years from when I was 11 to when I was 15 bring back dozens, if not hundreds, of crystal clear memories, as if it was only yesterday. I can't say that about any other period in my life. But I remember packing for camp outs, I remember loading trailers, I remember the first early campouts we had, and I was so amazed at the Baker tents with a heavy canvas, and the rain came down in torrential sheets, hitting that canvas, making a deafening sound. And then we looked down below us to see our gear washing out the low side of the tent, and we learned as young scouts where not to pitch a tent and how to pick a good campsite. I remember mile swim in the lake, losing complete track of where I was, except just behind that rowboat with 2 other scouts, one rowing and one spotting for me, and just stroking and stroking. It seemed like forever. And periodically, the spotter would say, "Are you tired? Are you ready to quit? Do you want to quit?" No way. I am not quitting. And to this day, every year or so, I jump in our pool and I start swimming laps, and I just swim laps until I tick off a mile or a mile and a quarter, just to prove, like I did back then, that I can do it. And scouting does that. It builds confidence your whole life. I remember the mess hall and the sounds of those heavy benches, 200 kids coming in and out, the cacophony of the mess hall, and the Philmont Grace, which I still say to this day, and my kids know how to say, because the Philmont Grace is just ingrained in me. Thursday night, campfires at Camp Karanqua. Pitch black, starry skies, roaring bonfire. Older scouts really reverently celebrating Native American culture and lore with dance and hearing the steady drum beat. And as the troop files through, stops in front of me, and the chief motions me to stand. The chief in those days, that year, was Bob Creech, who 4 years later, 5 or 6 years later, would play pro football for the New Orleans Saints. A towering guy, really a legendary figure to scouts of my generation. And he tapped me 3 times, and I thought it was a pile driver. It didn't leave any marks, but it left indelible memories. He steadied me with this hand just to make sure I was still vertical. And then I was sent off like other scouts to a night in solitude with 2 matches, hopefully well spent, and a blanket, followed by a day of silence and heavy labor that was joyous opportunity to work with my scouting friends and to be honored to serve. And to this day, when I pick up a hand tool or some opportunity for hard work and hard labor, I enjoy it. I love it, and I learned how to love hard work in scouting. And then, of course, there's Philmont, and Philmont offered just immense adventure. And the thing about scouting is you learn so much, but it's not that you're taught. Nobody's teaching you. You're discovering. It's an adventure and it's discovery. And we had so many adventures at Philmont. One of them, we were hiking up a valley and looked up the valley, and here is a torrent of water, a flash flood tumbling down the valley, 6, 7, 8 foot high wall of water. We scampered to the side up the hill a bit, watched that wall come by, and then suddenly realized that the creek that we were hiking beside was now a raging river, and we had to cross it. And our destiny, our trek, was on the other side. And 7 young scouts, aged 13 to 15, and 1 invisible adult who was one of the best scouters I ever knew. He was almost never seen and just there just for safety, and a pack mule. And we had no idea how we were going to cross that stream, but we did what scouts do. We figured out how to do it. We couldn't do it alone. None of us could do it alone, but we could do it together. And when we reached the other side of that creek, we were a bit wiser, a bit stronger, a lot more confident, and bonded to each other. And that's what scouting does. When I look back at my life and I think of what I discovered in scouting, the skills and the attributes serve a lifetime. Leadership, teamwork, integrity, life skills, love of nature, love of country. So much that scouting doesn't teach, it helps young people discover. It's an immensely important attribute to our culture and our American way of life. And we're in a time right now, we're in a dark time. We all know this. We are in unprecedented times. Scouting is facing struggles that it's never faced before. And all of us, our whole culture, is facing struggles that we've never faced before. In a way, the forces, and I'm not just speaking of COVID, but the forces that tend to divide us are everywhere. The forces that tend to erode the foundation under our feet, what it means to be an American, are called into question. We are in need of scouting. Young people today, if we look at this young generation, we know that they need our help. Scouting touches every crossroad of culture, of ethnicity. Every young boys, now young girls, are helped by scouting every day, and we know they need our help. I think what we don't realize is how desperately we need their help. I think, as a nation, are facing a torrent like I was with my 7 friends in Philmont. We all together know that our destiny is on the other side of those raging waters. We don't know how to get there. We just know that we can't do it alone. We know that we have to do it together and unified. And we all need to be scouts. We all need to be good scouts. And we need to invest in these young people because we need them. Because we need them to be trustworthy. We need them to be brave. We need them to be reverent. We need them to be prepared to lead, to be prepared to lead us all, our nation, forward. And so, we're here in this virtual event, which we love to be here. We celebrate y'all, every one of you out there in the virtual world are a part of this event. But the event may be virtual, but the reality is not. This reality is anything but virtual. It's very real, and it demands action. And one thing about Scouts is when they put on the uniform, they don't spend a lot of time sitting around thinking or wishing they were going to do something. They do things. They're acting. Well, it's time for us to act, and we have an opportunity to do what really is important in this historic time, and that's to support Scouting. So thank you all for your support of Scouting. Thank you for joining us in this event. Thank you for allowing us to facilitate and to be a part of it. And let's enjoy.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Marty Sepulveda. I'm an Eagle Scout. I'm also the Scout Executive and CEO for the South Texas Council Boy Scouts of America. Through your help, we're able to provide much needed registration assistance, scholarships to attend camp, and help keep our programs affordable for all youth. Thank you for your generosity, and thank you for helping us with our mission to serve the youth in South Texas.